All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Aga here with the Candida Cleanser, and I'm really excited today to introduce you to Paralee. We met the other day on a quick little call, consultation call, and she was sharing her journey with me with how far her health has progressed with the cleanse. And I was just so inspired by her story. I was like, we need to share this with our community. So I asked if she would like to come on and share a bit of her story. So here she is. This is Paralee. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Paralee, and yeah, hope you the best on your cleanse. Wish you the best on your cleanse.
Mhm. So, for our viewers, Paralee, why don't you paint a picture for us of who you were, what your life was like, your symptoms before the cleanse, before you even found out about Candida?
Okay, if we go way back, I've always been super active. I'm a country girl from Alabama, and I was always running, jumping, and playing with my cousins outside, um, just all kinds of stuff. So I was always very fit, even through college, and then adulthood. And I became less active just naturally, working a 9 to 5. And then I met my boyfriend, and we were together all the time, and we just developed really poor eating habits, like right off the bat. I think like within, it's embarrassing, but within like 4 months, we gained like 40 pounds each, 80 pounds together. And I don't think we really noticed it because I look back and I have pictures. I was just like taking pictures, and then only after a while, I was like, whoa, like we gained a lot of weight. So after realizing I didn't want to continue, eating poorly, and I thought, I was eating relatively healthy. Actually, we would order in a lot of food, but I would order like Indian food, or I would order salmon and rice, but it was like gigantic piles of rice. You don't know how it's cooked. And anyways, I decided like, okay, I'm gonna get a juicer. I'm gonna start juicing. The first diet in the realm of all of them that I ended up trying was the Fat Busters diet. So I read all the stuff that you shouldn't eat, or Sugar Busters diet actually. So I removed all the sugar, even so much, like I stopped eating so many carrots even, and I juiced everything, and I saw a little bit of progress. I could tell then, like that there was a problem with yeast, but I didn't know what to call it, and it would flare up, and I had never experienced it before. It was just itchy, and as soon as I took those things out of my diet, like the sugary things, the excessive sugar, that part of it went away.
So,
But then there was just like the incline and decline of like weight gain. It just like was coming back and forth. And so I started researching things, and I started intermittent fasting. And I would eat at 1 in the afternoon, and then I would stop eating at 8, and I wouldn't eat again until 1 in the afternoon. And that had some results as well.
mhm.
But then it was just like still not really anything working. And I was actually looking at a hair video, and the vlogger was talking about how she had a bout with Candida. And I was like, what the heck is that? The heck is Candida? And she was talking about her symptoms. So I started researching, like, what is Candida? And Patty's video, one of Patty's videos popped up. It was like an hour long. I was like, I'm not watching an hour long video. But then I started watching it, and I got hooked, and I watched and watched. And I was like, oh, I really want to do this. In the meantime, I was still working, and then I was still researching, and I found the idea of a water fast where
Mhm.
you only drink water for 12 days and tea. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Because I experimented a little with fasting in college, but it was like for religious purposes. And I knew from that I could see results. So I said, I had never done a water fast though.
Mhm.
No food at all. So
So I want to back here for a second. So let's talk about some of these symptoms that were coming up in your life that made you think that you have Candida. You
yeah,
mentioned that there was like an itchiness, this inability to lose weight.
yes.
You had like thrush
Mhm.
breath.
Yep. So
Mhm.
it was like all of those ugly, nasty things. Um, and a lot of it, I just felt that I was not getting the benefit from the nutrients that I was taking in. Because before I met my boyfriend, I was very, organic based diet, and I ate very clean and very healthy. And so when I went back to that, I thought like, oh, it'll reverse and I'll be back to where I was before, but it didn't happen that way. Um, and there was also like the fatigue. It was definitely like the issue with the weight and the thrush, just all of those things. And I just felt, even like with my hair, I was like, my hair should grow longer, quicker, for all the nutrients that I'm taking in. So I just felt like there were blocks, and unless I got rid of what the source was, that I would not be able to see the benefits. So for me, it was like a no-brainer. Like, if this could cause all these issues that other people cite having, like, maybe I really need to focus on just that and get rid of it. Um, so I bought the cleanse, and I was like, whoa, like it's a lot. It's a lot to do. And I was like working at the time, very hectic job taking care of two kids, not my kids, but as my work. And they're very energetic and young kids. And so, even in the midst of that, I was very determined, like, I'm going to do exactly what, the protocol says. I'm going to take it at the right time. I'm going to be very disciplined. And I was. And I was like shocked. I did a lot of research before. Every like email that I got from you guys, I read it. I picked up all the vitamins, and I was sure that I was sure to get the package. I didn't want to just get the Candida tablets. I wanted the whole 9 yards. So I got the packet of 3 that has the probiotics and the Zioko, which is the cleanser, the
Yeah, so for those of our viewers who are not familiar with the Candida cleanser, so the Candida cleanser is a 45-day protocol, and just the Candida cell wall suppressor on its own, that's what actively targets that chitin layer, the exoskeleton of Candida. And then the full package comes with that probiotic that you're talking about to help reestablish a good, healthy gut flora. And then the Zeoco is what I nicknamed a mega binder. So it actually binds with the toxins, because when Candida is dying, it's actually going to be releasing a lot of toxins and heavy metals into the body. So you want to, and it's those toxins that actually make us kind of feel sick before we feel better. So it's that binder that binds with the toxins and actually helps excrete them out of the body. So that's what Paralee is referring to here when she's talking about the full pack.
Yeah, and for me, it just made sense to, like, if I'm gonna do it, do the whole thing. So I got the whole package, and I took it religiously. Um, Even with 14 grams of fat, and I was drinking like 3 shots of olive oil, just like pure olive oil at a time, and it's not good. Like, it's not pleasant. But I said, this is what is gonna make it work, and I was doubling up, so 2 pills at once. So yeah, it was like 3 shots of, anyway, 3 tablespoons of it. Um, but it didn't deter me. I was like, I'm just gonna do whatever it is. And I noticed, or I knew from listening to Patty about some of the symptoms I might see. And I did. So when the back acne came, I was like, okay, it's working. This is
Mhm.
good. um, so yeah, I continued the cleanse, and on the days off, I did as instructed with the Zioko, and I was just like blown away by what happened afterwards. Like, my skin, one thing that I noticed was that my skin felt like silk. So like during the cleanse, I was making sure to take the Epsom salt baths, and they were so relaxing. Like, even if you're not cleansing, like, it was just great on its own. But together with that, my skin was like renewed, like brand new, and that was amazing. Um, and I noticed like the weight loss. Um, just I would step on the scale and like, whoa. And then when the cleanse was completely over, I was on vacation, and then I came back to LA where I live, and I stepped on the scale, and I was like, what? Like, at some point I lost like an extra 7 or 10 pounds. I was like, why did that even happen? And I think with the cleanser, having removed all the barriers to, being able to do this or being able to see the results, the normal eating healthy that I was doing started to actually show up. And along with the intermittent fasting, I think that all those things together, my body was like very, very happy. I noticed on my legs, like they have this thing, I guess it's like termed strawberry legs, where it's like very dotted. I don't have pictures of that one, but I felt like I saw a difference in the complexion even there. Like there was less of that look.
Yeah, I think I can share my screen here. I have a picture of you that you sent
Yeah,
in of your scale, so you could see 20 pounds gone.
like gone. And I was like, the first 10 pounds, and I was actually in Italy for a little while. When I was in Italy, I saw it, the weight loss. I was like, yay. But then when I got back to LA and got on the scale, like, whoa, like what is happening? And I'm actually back at the weight that I was in my freshman year in college.
Mhm.
So, so happy about that. Look at that.
There we go. Here we go. That's you before and after.
And that's not even like the worst of the worst of before pictures, because before I found the cleanse and when I was just like eating, not really considering what I was taking in, oh man, it was like, maybe someday I'll share that picture, but it's like treacherous. So I was so grateful for the cleanse, and like I was very skeptical before going into it. I'm like, you know, and even if I go out to do a Google search, like a million things come up. This cleanse doesn't come up for whatever reason. And so I was so happy to have found Patty's video on YouTube. And I'm glad I didn't waste my time going to buy a million other Candida, cleansers. And I found the one the first time it worked. And I mean, the only thing that I would have wanted more from it is to get rid of the thrush, but I'm just gonna do another one.
Mhm.
And so yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
got my health back, and it's like I feel like at home when there's nobody around. I'm like wearing the tightest clothes, and I'm like my stomach is flat. And there was a lot of that before. Like one symptom of the candida, as you could see with those before and after pictures, was the bloating. And it's like no matter what I did, like I was always bloated. Even if I would intermittent fast, when I would go back to eat, like I would just be bloated again. And I was like, it's time. It's time to do this cleanse. So
mhm. Yeah, I'll share this photo again, the before and after of you, and it's like
love it.
it's such tangible, and it's 4 months. We
Yeah.
got February on the left and then June on the right. That's of this year of 2019.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And I just was bloated like all over. And I feel like after the cleanse, all of that the bloating from all over went away. Even my arms. I used to complain to my boyfriend so much about like my arms that used to be so slim. He's like, no one cares about your arms. Like, I care. And after the cleanse, I was like, yes. Like I knew it could happen. And
Mhm.
I really, after the initial skepticism, I went to the website and I read tons and tons and tons of reviews. And I said, there's no way like 400,000 people are not telling the truth. Like it just has to be real. And the only way I'll really know is if I just try it. So I'm so happy that I did. Yeah.
Me too. We see these transformations with people all the time, and that skepticism, right? When we've been sick for so long and a solution is presented to us, often we're like, is it too good to be true, right?
Right.
So what was something that like was causing that skepticism in you? Like, what was it?
Um, I don't know. I just think all the maybe just like all the diets, all the information about people who tried things that didn't work. And it's also like basically what you just said. It's like, this sounds too good to be true. This person, I'm seeing someone who cured like a skin disease on their hand. I'm like, there's no way. How? Really? How? Because the ailment seems so powerful. You think like there's nothing that you're just you're just going to be destined to have that.
Mhm.
And so the idea of sickness becomes more powerful than being well or being able to become well again. And yeah, and especially me eating as organically as I did, I'm like, if organic food doesn't work, then what will work? But that's where science comes in, and it's beautiful. Like that's the earth. Like
Mhm.
there's and and gaining more information. I think what made me more comfortable and confident in trying it was reading those reviews, and it made me think like, no, this has to work. This is one of those gems in life where, you know, it is as good as it seems. It's as true as it is good. Like it's amazing.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like I've been in this with the Candida cleanser for 6+ years now, helping people. And I was one of those people that tried everything. And I was so frustrated. Like the herbs didn't work, the diet didn't work, the different therapies didn't work. I never did the pharmaceutical route of the antifungals because from day one, I'm like, I don't want antibiotic like pharmaceutical drugs because that's part of the problem, right? My whole
right.
life I was sick and I was on amoxicillin for 6 to 8 months for decades, for a decade at least. And that's what ruined my gut health, what gave me cancer.
Yeah,
So I kind of like distrusted the mainstream medical system for a really long time.
definitely.
But then again, we noticed that diet alone does not work.
Mm,
And I want to give a little for our viewers a reason why. Because Candida yeast is always going to be in our digestive system. It's kind of like the janitor in our body, eating excess sugars, excess toxins, eating
mhm.
decaying and dying tissue. And then we have good gut bacteria that eat the yeast. And it's kind of like this beautiful symbiotic relationship where the yeast
Right.
grows, the probiotics eat the yeast. But what happens due to antibiotics, due to like that sad standard American diet, which they call the SAD diet,
Mhm.
way too many processed foods and sugars, and also the antibiotics in our meat. Like if you're eating processed meats and not organic meat, that stuff is like filled with antibiotics. And that's affecting your microbiome. So, and also, stress and chlorinated water, just like life these days, it's
Right.
destroying the beneficial microbes, and the yeast grows. And this is where it's misunderstood. It grows and transforms into a fungus. It transforms into like a different organism. Some
Ugh.
are baffled by it because it's not a yeast overgrowth anymore. It's not a yeast problem. It's a fungus. And if you know about fungus, the bad fungus is terrible. If you've ever had black mold living in your house or growing in your home, those mycotoxins can kill you. They attack your immune system and you can be super sick.
Right.
So now you have this fungus growing in your digestive system. It grows an exoskeleton made of chitin, the same stuff that like lobsters and ticks and fleas are made out of. And there's nothing in the human body that can get past it. It's kind of just like hitting yourself against the brick wall and trying to get past it. Herbs aren't going to get past it. The like antifungals don't get past it. It kind of just mask the symptoms. So we have this exoskeleton. It starts to grow roots that penetrate through your gut lining. Now it spreads throughout the body. It's releasing toxins. And I say this, it begins to essentially decompose your body while you're alive because it doesn't change from yeast to fungus. Normally, in a healthy body, it's only happens after we die to decompose us back into the earth,
Mm.
right? That's like part of Mother Nature.
Mhm.
Now we're alive and it's a fungus growing in us, and we're not meant to. That's not supposed to happen. And so a diet will just put this fungus into hibernation. It will just hide out and it'll have access to your blood sugar stores. If it's living around like the liver area, it'll have access to your glycogen. So you can be eating zero carbs on the ketogenic diet for, years. And then as soon as you have that piece of sugar or like fruit even, you flare up and all your symptoms come back and you're like, what the F? I thought I did my herbal 2-week Candida gone cleanse
Right.
2 weeks ago or 2 years ago. I'm Candida free,
Right.
but it doesn't work because you have to get past that exoskeleton. And, that's why this cleanse works so well. It's the active ingredient lufeneron. It doesn't mess around. It goes straight at the exoskeleton. So then your body can eliminate it.
And I want to say that I know that it's true because I have a great example in my boyfriend. Like I watch him and now I'm like, I'm so clean. I can tell you everything that's going on with you. This is why you're so tired. And he has chronic migraines. Like sometimes if he hasn't had coffee or if he hasn't eaten, or sometimes if it's just like Tuesday or whatever it might be, he gets a migraine. And I'm like, oh, I guess we're not going to that movie or not doing that fun thing because he has a migraine. And I can just see in him, like, sometimes he sleeps 10 hours and it's still not enough. I'm like, you have to cleanse. You
Mm,
have to get that nasty stuff out of your body so you can function at optimal health. Like, yeah, I
mhm,
can see it. I can see it, definitely.
mhm. Yeah, and, and so much shifts for us when we're on the other side of Candida. Like, one of the things here I remember you saying was that, like, the sugar cravings just, like,
Oh my God, they were intense. You froze for a second. Let me tell you, and this is another testament, like, it's true. I remember, like, before I met him, I was usually eating like healthy. But then when we got together and we were eating poorly, then I started craving like junk. But then it was like a monster like creeping up on me. Like, I craved more and more junk. And then it got to a point where we had to go to Gelson's and I needed ice cream and I needed cake like right now. And every time that there was dinner, there was a very sugary dessert to go along with it. And it wasn't like, oh, I'd like some dessert. It's like, I have to have it. We need to go to this store. And then it was like not just salmon that I'm ordering. I'm ordering like these super heavy pastas and like pancakes. And it was really, really terrible. And it like consumes you. And you're kind of like, you feel out of control of it. Like, no, I need to have this sugar, this particular one right now. And then sometimes, like, if I try to, like, oh, no, I'm fine. I don't need that. By the end of the day, I've made my way to that store and gotten that sugar.
Mm. And so what is it like now?
I barely eat anything that now when I shop, I look for things like I started this during the cleanse. I know that sugar added is like not your friend. So whatever I would buy, even chocolate, I don't know if I still have the wrapping, but I look for the chocolate that's like no added sugar, no this, no that. Like there's a list of 7 things, and it's fantastic. I'll tell you, I didn't like dark chocolate before the cleanse. I hated it. It was too bitter. I never bought it. But then I really wanted to have chocolate, even though I was cleansing. And so I went to look for the ones that have these ingredients. And so I got one that was phenomenal. And when I go back to eat like the milk chocolate that's like laden with so much sugar, I don't even like it.
Yeah,
And
don't even
I
like
don't
it.
even like it. I'm like, no, I'm good. Or we'll go out, and my boyfriend, who's still in his pre-Candida phase, he'll say, let's have In-N-Out. I'm like, you can have that, but I'm not going to have it because, like, first of all, I don't want it. I just honestly don't want it. And then, like, I even had an Izzy when we went to Chipotle. I never drink drinks. I don't have soda at all. Can't even tell you the last time. But even that, it has no sugar added, but I just didn't like it. It's like, it's too sweet. I feel like it reset my taste buds to help like my body understand like what's normal and not. I can have a piece of fruit, like even grapefruit, which is bitter. And it's just like whatever sugar craving that I had, or not craving, but desire I had, is fully met with just a regular organic piece of fruit. Like, this is great. And then I don't have to worry, about what's going to happen after, or where that's going to show up on my body that I have to spend, 1,000 crunches getting rid of, because I don't like exercising and I'm not going to do it. So I'm just like, I'm not going to pick up that candy bar because number one, I don't want it. And number two, like, it's completely counterproductive. So
Mm.
yeah, they went away.
Yeah, and that's something really people have a hard time wrapping their minds around how much their taste buds are going to change, their
Mhm.
preferences, their desire is going
Mhm.
away. So it's not like the first part of the cleanse, when we're first removing some of those like starchy, sugary foods, and we have to switch to this low
Mhm.
carb diet. At first there's like, oh my God, I'm depriving myself
Right.
of all this food. And it's kind of like, woe me, kind of this victim thing of like, I don't have my sugar anymore. And we have our child in us has this tantrum, but it's actually Candida. It's not you. It's Candida that's like, no, my food, right? And
Right.
you get
You're
past that.
starving me.
Yeah, you're starving me, right? And you get past that, and all of a sudden, it's like, I don't even want that. That wasn't even you. Those weren't even your desires to begin with.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense because when they're gone, the cravings are gone. And no, I mean, it is, I do understand, like, it's hard to see that from the other side when you don't know the science of what's going on inside of you. You've never even heard of Candida. Even less you've heard of how it turns into a fungus. So you're just like, there's no way.
Mhm.
All I know is that I have these cravings and they're inside of me. So, but I would say, like, if you're skeptical, give it a try the whole package, follow it religiously. And I wasn't cheating, like, no fast food. Like, I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go all the way. And I did. I think every meal I cooked, or it was like Chipotle, which is non-GMO, and even it was very little of that. And so I wanted to make sure, as it suggested, not to, backtrack as I'm doing the cleanse. So I ate very clean. I followed just like whatever recommendation. I was like, yes, okay, now that's less guesswork, great. And it really worked. And even now, like, the weight is still off. And when I get up, I just feel light. And there's like something else that comes along with having Candida overgrowth. It's just like this just sense of just drab, like, all the time. And now I'm just like, oh, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping. Like, life is great. It's a real transformation. I know it sounds weird, but it's like legit.
Right. So what would you say is the most rewarding thing after this cleanse?
Getting my health back and knowing now that I have, a resource to go to, not to go get crazy and just like eat pizza or whatever stuff and like go crazy and then, oh, I can do a cleanse, but I can keep up with my health. I feel that my health is back in my hands. And for me, like, that's really big because I've been relatively healthy all my life, and then feeling like, oh, I am doomed as an adult. You just have to, like, deteriorate, like, because it's just natural. Knowing that that's not true is, I think, the most rewarding part.
Mm, beautiful. And so what advice would you give to someone who is considering doing this cleanse? Maybe this is someone like in your shoes
Mhm.
6 months ago who's like, "Okay, this sounds like me. I think this is Candida. I'm skeptical." What would you say to that person?
What do you have to lose? Like, what do you have to lose? It's very little to lose, like the monetary part of it, um, and then like your whole life to gain. It's like not even. It's a no-brainer. I would say, like, even if you're in whatever situation, if you have to save up to get the entire package or whatever you have to do, just like do it. Um, I would say try it, give it a try, and then make your decision. And then maybe you'll find out. Well, there's no way you'll find out it's too good to be true. You'll just be happy, but like, just try it and try it with a friend or like whatever gets you to the place where you mentally can just go for it. Do that. Yeah, that's my advice. And go in 110% because that's what it's going to give back to you.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of times when we think of investing in ourselves in something like this cleanse, we forget that like the gain, it's an investment. Anything we spend our
Mhm,
money on is going to come back tenfold,
mhm.
right? And it's like the cleanse is relatively inexpensive,
Right.
$100 for the full pack, and what you gain in energy and in joy and in confidence and in radiance. It's like you're sharing about how your partner, he gets migraines from here and there, and then all of a sudden we're too sick and tired to enjoy our life.
Yeah. And that sucks.
Yeah.
We're here for however long we're here, and then like you don't get to come back. So while you're here, you have to soak it up. And you can't do that if you don't have your health. Like, no matter how smart you are or, and well intentioned you are, if you don't have your health, your life is limited. So I just appreciate that this cleanse is legit and that it really did put my health and to the greater extent my life back into my own hands, and that's just like invaluable.
Mhm. Yeah, and I found that's like the missing link in the mainstream medical system, right? It doesn't really teach people how to take control of their health.
Hmm.
These like band-aid solutions of, in my situation, it was kind of like a whack-a-mole situation. Like health problem would pop up, and you know, put a band-aid solution, something would come out
Right,
here. But it's like, when we're finally sick and tired of being sick and tired, ready
right,
to take the driver, like what does it take to actually
right.
sustain my health, right? When you're ready to dedicate yourself to yourself, you know, this is why we're here, to really educate and empower.
Right. The goal is total health. Like you don't want to be happy and or feel good some days because there will be times like when I was super busy in grad school and like my weight was down because I was working two jobs and student teaching and just like the hustle and bustle of life and I was thinner. It was like, okay, great. But as soon as that slowed down, I was like all the symptoms are coming back again. And you need that knowledge. And I think that that's what Candida means for me. Is like, it means access to total health and health from now on. I know what to do, what not to do. And, you know, if I get into a situation where I reinfect, like I'm not going to panic about it because now I know I have a go to. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for bringing that reinfection up, because, you know, like I mentioned before, there's that yeast that's always present in the gut. We want to get rid of the fungus because that's the deadly stuff. That's the tyrant.
Mhm.
But the yeast is normal. And so when we get our health back, it's not like we can go back to McDonald's and pop and soda all of a sudden, because you're going to just reinfect. The yeast is just going to grow back again. It's really about um, changing our lifestyle to support our health. And um, some people have a really large fungal infection. Like, you know, for yourself, it was like really almost quick fix. It was 4 months, you know, maybe doing another bottle because there's still some of that thrush left. But, you know,
Mhm.
one bottle, I just want to be clear, 45 days, you know, it's not a magic pill. It's not going to transform your life overnight,
Right.
especially if someone's had like 10 or 15 years of really intense fungal infection, right? So sometimes with those people, it's two or three cleanses. So I really encourage you, if you're watching, to go to candidacleanser.com, check out our blog. And, you know, one of the first articles we've ever written was the 5 stages of Candida, to figure out where you're at. If you're in that
Mhm.
first level, then, you know, dietary adjustments might just get that yeast out of control. If you're level 2, you might need, you know, 1 or 2 cleanses. Level 3, maybe 3 or 4 over like a year period of time. And knowing that it's patience. You know, it took
Mhm.
time of what's the word I'm looking for? Repeated habits, unhealthy habits, for this infection to grow to this extent.
Right.
Not, you know, for some people it's not a quick fix, but, you know, for some, you know, like yourself, we bounce back really quickly when it's just those early stages of Candida infection.
And I will say this is after I lost 20 pounds, but I had 20 pounds extra like before that. So it's a quick fix from this point to that, but it takes time. And I had to change my eating habits and I had to change, you know, the way that I thought about eating in general. Like, okay, is it all right to go to a certain, you know, fast food restaurant every now and then? It's just like, what's the point? I think that's when I'm, you know, at a good stage of health and I go doing things like that sporadically. That's what builds it back up. So now I'm just like, wash my hands of it, like I'm done. And I would also recommend, I would say to people, like, do yourself a favor. Don't waste time with all these fads. And like, if you're skeptical, read the reviews enough till you feel confident, because that worked for me. And just like put your investment into this one thing, and do it before you have failures with all the other ones that are like $10 at the store. They're not going to do anything for you. Um, and there was a point that really stuck out to me when I was doing research between you and Patty about how you can make the candida angry when you're doing certain things. And so it might come up to the surface or seem like it's going away, but then it's like mad and like burrows deeper into you to come out at just the wrong time. I was like, ah, that's scary. Just give me the cleanse. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with you. I just wanted to reflect back, kind of like summarize, you know, what I heard you share in your transformation. And, you know, losing the 20 pounds, the before and after photos, it's amazing.
Mm.
The chronic bloat, the silky soft skin, the strawberry legs disappearing,
Mhm.
the chronic fatigue, that tiredness, the blah, the drab, you said, disappear,
Mhm.
waking up and just feeling this like positivity and enthusiasm for life again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sugar cravings gone, like this authentic desire to actually easily choose foods that fuel you rather than deplete you.
Yep, that's it.
That,
Perfect.
that's
That's
amazing.
exactly it. And I just feel like I wish I had bottles and bottles. Like I'm gonna start giving those out as like gifts to people. Like happy birthday, here's your health. you know? It's really amazing. And
Mm,
just the fact that I'm just so grateful that in the time span that I'm alive, like this is available for me. Like, yeah, why wouldn't I try it?
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so for all of you watching out there, again, you can find us on candidacleanser.com. We have an incredible support community on Facebook. On Facebook, I believe it's just called Candida Cleanser Support Group. That's a group. There's about 17,000 people in there now. Most of them actively doing this cleanse, and myself and Patty, she's the other team leader. She's on there. We're doing our best to support the community with our presence, with replying back to your comments and your posts. And if you find that you're still a bit overwhelmed and frustrated on this journey, because there is a lot of information and misinformation about Candida, of like what to eat, what not to eat, what cleanse works, what doesn't. And this protocol, that the 45-day Candida cleanser protocol, if you're someone in stage 3 or 4 infection, you might need some more hand holding or some guidance, some more one-on-one attention. If that's something you need, reach out to me. I'm, aga@candidacleanser.com. And I do offer coaching, group coaching through an 8-week program. So this is for someone who just, like you said, like, so all the guesswork is done. You don't have to
Right.
do this by yourself, because when die-off hits and you begin to
Oh
feel,
gosh.
you begin to question it. You're like, oh my God, am I dying? Did I do this? Is this poison?
Seriously. I didn't talk about that. I meant to mention, like, I was fine. I didn't really have any die-off symptoms. But then, like, that last week when I got to Italy, oh my gosh, like my allergies. And I don't usually have allergy issues, but like my eyes wouldn't stop watering. And then, like, it was just so intense. Like, my nose draining at night to the point where I'm like trying to like breathe as I'm sleeping. I said, what is this? And I was like, oh, I'm in that period. And my eye, at some point, it was just like so itchy. I just carried around like some vitamin E with me because I kept scratching and wasn't helping. So every time I felt the urge, so I'm walking around with like this super greasy half of my face. But then, just around the time where, those last 10 days were done, like the sun came out, and like I haven't had those issues since. And I even was in the South for a wedding. And it's like super humid down there and like hella pollen. No issues at all. So I know it was probably just the die off, and like using the Zioko like cleaned it up, and now I just feel healthy and like, what can I do today? Like I can do anything I want.
Yeah, and so die-off shows up in people in different ways, right? Sometimes the past health symptoms come up. So if you've got UTIs, it might feel very itchy down there, or if you strep throat, that might come back, or an ear infection, right? And this is just Candida leaving your body in the way that it has infected your body in the past. And for me, like, I know if fungus is starting to grow back in my body because it's hay fever, it's allergies. I wake up sneezing, or I'll pull these like goopy string things out of my eyes, and it's just like that Candida, the biofilm. And so, there's so much that happens on this journey. It really is a relearning of radical self-care, of showing up for yourself in ways that you've never done before. And it's a lifestyle change, because if you're sick, it's up until now, everything that you've been doing has created this disease.
Right.
Sickness doesn't just like happen overnight, right? Especially chronic things, right? And so it's about looking back and being like, what has served me? What has not? Let's reevaluate. Am I living my life aligned to my values? And creating that change that's when we stick our heels in the ground. That's when we need someone there to hold us accountable.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't have that discipline or that motivation or inspiration or even information, right?
Right.
This is why, like myself, I put this together, this program to help people, to really put them on the fast track for healing, and to live in this empowered, confident, radiant place like yourself. And thank you so much for coming on and just sharing
Oh,
so much.
thanks for asking me. Hope I didn't talk too much.
It's just the perfect amount.
Yay.
Yeah. So, are you in the Facebook support group?
I actually, got locked out of my Facebook like so long ago, and I tried with so many attempts, and I never created a new account because I don't have the old phone that it's linked to. So maybe I'll start a new one so I can get on.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it's really nice when you're in there. So someone who sees the video and then they see you in the Facebook support group, and you're like, "Wow, you're a real human." And a lot of the people in our testimonials on the in our website are people in the group, so you can
Right.
actually find them and talk to them. And
Yeah.
I know Amy is one. Amy is one. Anne is one, and they're like almost admins. They help
Mhm.
in there regularly. So we do our best to support.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I've been thinking about it. It's funny that you should say that. I'm like, I think I'm gonna get back on Facebook just for this.
Well, we would love to have you, your smiling face in the community.
Well, thank you, Aga, for everything. Thank you for being like a warrior and a trooper and being there for us. Many blessings on you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
thank you all for watching. Ciao.
Thanks. Bye, guys. Get the claim.